It's coming through. Live video is starting. I should be here, right? Or maybe I just move the computer. Okay. Welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. I had a great question today from somebody named Working Dollars. I don't know what that means. And the question was, does a loan commitment letter satisfy a buyer's mortgage contingency? Great question. Let me explain how standard contracts are formed in New York and what they mean. Standard contract will have a commitment date on it. So it'll say, hey, we're going to contract today, March 23rd, 2023. You have 30 days to get a commitment, for example. So you have to provide us a commitment by April 23rd, 2023. And we want to close on or about May 23rd, 2003. So what that means is if the buyer doesn't provide you with a commitment by the date that you specified, in this case April, you can return the deposit and say, sorry, I'm not selling it to you. You didn't fulfill your terms of the contract. What more likely happens is the buyer's attorney asks for an extension. We need another week. You get another week, and then you get a commitment. Now, sometimes it doesn't. I've had situations where they just couldn't get a commitment. I've also had situations where a week into the transaction, the buyer says, I can't get a loan. Happens. Those are the best, right? If a buyer's gonna pull a mortgage contingency card out, better if he does it sooner. Let me explain what a mortgage contingency is from someone who was in the mortgage business for 17 years at the same company. A mortgage contingency allows a buyer, and this is standard on almost every transaction in New York and most transactions throughout the country, to say, listen, if I can't get financing, if I can get a loan, I can cancel the contract. And it's solely at the discretion of the buyer in that case. So what that means in effect, and people don't really understand this, although some people have been burned by it. I know I've been burned by it. It means that the buyer has a get out of contract free card. And you could say, how? If the buyer, the pre-approval said that he was pre-approved for $1 million and I'm only selling a house for 500,000, and the loan officer said he had great credit and great income. This is how it works, and no one talks about this. I may be the only one, and I may be one of the few people who's in the real estate investment world who has significant mortgage industry experience. Was called during my 17 years on many occasions to say, hey, I changed my mind. Can you deny me for the loan? In essence, I shouldn't be denied for the loan, but can you deny me? And the answer was always no problem, because the way mortgage paperwork works, things expire all the time. You give a pay stub, it's only good for 30 days. And we don't update that until we get to closing, right? Until we get close to closing, where they'll ask for updated paperwork. But if we're 45 days in and you haven't provided a more recent bank statement or a pay stub, or let's say we went into the new year and you haven't provided a W-2, I can easily deny you for a lack of income, a problem, all kinds of stuff. So it's very easy to give a denial letter, and it's relatively legitimate, but you can get it. So when you go into a standard contract, you have to understand it is possible, and of course, most of the time this doesn't happen, for that buyer to jerk you around for a long time, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 months, and then say, sorry, I'm out of here. And that has happened to me. And it sucks. It almost always sucks. Now, I had situations where the market was going up and someone dropped out and I sold it for more. Where was that property? In Mastic, where I ended up making more money. But it always sucks, right? Because you're paying money every month, right? You're paying interest, you're paying taxes, you're paying utilities. These are things you're paying for. You're paying to some guys to cut the grass or shovel the snow. You got all kinds of bullshit that breaks. Bird cracks your window. All kinds of stupid things. So it always sucks. Even if you end up making a little money, it basically will cover your holding cost. But that is a reality. And when people get burned by that, right? They try and sell a property and then they get burned by some jerky buyer. Sometimes the next time they call out an investor and they say, hey, I want an ironclad contract. I know you can't get out with a mortgage contingency. And sometimes that is the one point that makes my deal go through. So I very often explain to sellers, assuming the property can be listed and it's not in bad shape, I say, listen, this is what you can list it for. This is what I can pay. You're going to make less money if you take my offer. But the advantages of taking my offer are I'll close whenever you want. That can be in 2 weeks, and that can be in longer time if you need more time, if you can't find a place to go. I have no outs on my contract, so you know I'm going to close. I can't just tell you I didn't get financing. I and I'm not going to change my price. So my price is my price. I'm not coming with an inspector and saying, "Oh, it looks like your boiler only has a few years left." I'm not bringing an appraiser. It says, "Oh, you better put in smoke detectors and railings." That doesn't happen with me. So my price is my price. I'll close whenever you want. I have no outs, so there's certainty and convenience that we provide. And if someone gets burned, and it's happened, I'm not the only guy this happens to, they may want that. And they may say, you know what, I'll take a little less money for the property for the certainty and convenience that an investor provides. So the answer is, does a loan commitment letter satisfy a buyer's mortgage contingency? No. It satisfies the commitment contingency. Now, another thing is it's very easy to get a commitment. Very easy. If you read the fine print on almost any mortgage commitment, and I'm talking about a perfect borrower with perfect credit, tons of income, and tons of assets, there are still going to be tons of conditions on there. Conditions are things that have to be satisfied. So one of the reasons why I got the hell out of the mortgage business is because I had a client who was making $1 million a year, had $5 million in liquid assets, was looking for a 50 LTV, so 50% of the value, 50% loan to value on a condo, and I couldn't get him a loan because his income was a little complicated. And when that happened, I basically said, something's freaking wrong. Because at that time, any schmo could have gotten any loan for anywhere. But this guy wanted a full income, full doc loan and pay the lowest rate, and he deserved it. He was great, he had great credit. One of the reasons why I couldn't stand the mortgage business. So it's very easy to get a commitment. Most people will, when they yell at their loan officer, they'll get a commitment. Another reason I believe that you should never, ever get your loan from like a bank, right? I bank at Chase, I'm going to get my loan at Chase. I think it's a terrible idea. One of the reasons why I think it's a terrible idea, I'll give a few reasons, but number one is Chase Bank, for example, does all their loan processing out of a Jacksonville, Florida office, or Tampa or something like that. It's very possible that they're backed up. They also might have a power failure or a hurricane going on. And if that happens, there is no one to call and say, hey, I need a loan commitment quicker. If you use a mortgage banker, or even a mortgage broker, you can get a commitment from them. A mortgage banker can, a mortgage broker really can. And they can give you a commitment, and it's going to say in the conditions subject to lender approval, something stupid like that, which basically is a useless commitment, but nevertheless, it's a commitment if you're in a jam and you're in contract to buy. So does it satisfy the mortgage contingency? No, because even after you get a commitment, it is clearly possible for you to get denied your loan. And things like that happen all the time, right? And with no one at fault, right? I get a commitment. They told me I need to explain why I had this judgment, or explain that this judgment wasn't me, and then I realized it is on me. I was a judgment I didn't know about, and they say, you know what? You're gonna have to pay this judgment. Can't afford the loan. Goodbye. No good. So these things happen, right? And it's not necessarily a scam to screw you over. It just happens at times. So it does not satisfy the mortgage contingency. The mortgage contingency really allows the buyer to get out of that contract at the last second. Now, again, I don't want to imply that there are millions of buyers out there who are just looking to get out of the contract. The vast majority, more than 99% of the buyers, want to buy, right? It's not a simple process to get in contract. They may not have any out-of-pocket costs besides maybe an appraisal fee, an inspection fee, but the point is that they're looking to buy, right? And not 9 times out of 10, if they get denied, it's because they couldn't qualify for whatever reason. It's something popped up in their credit. The assets weren't clear. It was cash in his mattress, and the lender needs to see a paper trail on it, or it's a gift from someone who's not a family member who can't show the money. Something stupid. So it's either an income asset or a credit issue. Income shows up weird. The guy makes all this money, but he shows no money, shows no income. These things happen. It's not bad. But can that buyer get out of your contract? You're damn right they can. Absolutely they can. And it does not, it's one phone call and they're out of that contract. So I think that's all I got to say about this. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com or learntoflipandwholesale.com. What else? If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. Thank you all for all the thumbs up and all the likes. It's really been helping a lot more people seeing my videos. I really, really appreciate it. And what else? Oh, please keep the comments coming. This came from a comment. Keep the questions coming. The point of this channel is for me to answer your questions. So Ask anything. It does not have to be about the video you're watching. If it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something that I've covered recently, I'll send you a link to a video. And if it's something that I haven't covered in a long time, it'll be my pleasure to do a new video on it. And thank you, George and Claire, for your comments right here on Facebook. Thank you again for watching.